Mark and Joey back here on a beautiful day in Ontario, Canada. It's Thursday morning. If you're first time watching the show, we appreciate it. Every week we get more and more people. And so anyway, we're here. It's golf weather. You're golfing, and we're going to talk golf. However, we will first tell you that we do live in a trailer resort here in our summertime. We live down in the States in the winter for Joey's golf. Internet's not always the greatest for us. It's done by satellite. All our cable tower, whatever it is, all it needs is bad weather to go out, and that's what happened yesterday. We got rain overnight and had horrible problems. Anyway, we couldn't get our show up. In the PGA, we typically talk Wednesdays about our predictions. We're too late to do that, and some of the guys have already taken off like rockets in the first half of the show. We're going to do our PGA show, but we're going to really be back with player discussions come Saturday morning with the cut on Friday and talk that normally. We also want to recognize our sponsor, CoolEyeCover.com, and nowhere do you need it more than in golf, both playing and watching. You need to keep those eyes covered. Take a look at the website for them if you don't mind, and see if there's a pair there for you. Different prices, different styles and quality. It's all there for you, no problem at all. And we're going to get right into golf, and I guess we're going to do some stories today. We decided.
We'll do some stories, but let's do the
leaderboard because it's pretty big.
You got 3 tied at -6. Bud Cauley, Kevin Kisner, Danny Lee, all tied at -6. We know a little bit about Kisner, obviously. Won the match play earlier this year. Has actually been around in a lot of majors, too. Has not been able to close, but always kind of a dark horse guy. Every week he's kind of the dark horse guy. Yeah. It's funny, they always...
Because he doesn't close.
He doesn't close,
so his Thursday results are usually not a big deal.
Although he's won some events. He won the match play, but the match was obviously a little bit different.
Deal,
yeah, it's a different tournament. But anyways, yeah, he's always there, man. This is a guy with an incredible story. At one point, he was going to quit golf because he was shanking down the driving range at Web.com event. Made his swing change on a week off. Decided to keep playing. Now he's on PGA Tour as
probably
wins.
Probably the only sport, and we talk about this because you're in it, that coaches don't have an opinion. Teams can't decide whether to pay you.
You would have been cut. Would have been cut.
Would have cut off every team and would have probably left the game. But in golf, that's not the case. You tee it up any week that you qualify and go out there and try to win. And that's what happened to him.
And the key is, like he said, you just gotta believe that you can go from god awful, horrible to great in a week. Where other sports a lot harder to do that. In golf, you can, but the key is believing that you can. Believing that you can go from miscut to winning. You have to have that. We've seen it many times on the PGA Tour. They can't stop you once you have status. That's what he had, and here he is. So Kisner in the lead. Bud Cauley, actually, one of my favorite golfers because he's like 5'6". So I always root for the 5'6" guys out there. I actually got in a car accident last year. Was really badly injured. Had a year off. Came back, had a good week. Jacksonville, I want to say Jacksonville, and the Memorial, having a good week here.
And all we know is,
we've
talked many times, golfers play with momentum. They get good for a while, everything feels good, and you'll see, we have a rule that a coach told us one time that golfers make 80% of their income in 3 weeks. Because they get hot, they usually get a win, the second, third, or fifth, or something like that, and then they seem to go off the board for some reason. So it's kind of interesting that these guys, this happens, and Cauley's same, he gets good at Jack's event. And here we are.
And here you go. And he was a highly touted guy to college.
Yeah, young guy, yeah.
So it's good to see him back. He's a cool young guy. He's got the little style going. So very impressed for him.
Yep.
And actually, real quickly here, my leaderboard updated. Charles Howell's actually at -7. Charles Howell third.
The biggest failure in golf as far as potential, but the guy's had a fantastic
I was going to say,
career. We don't want to take
failure's really strong.
I know.
Obviously,
when he came to the game, he was meant to be one of the greats. He won a lot of money. Stay on PGA, but has not been able to put the wins together.
But his nickname Chucky 3 Sticks because he's Charles out there. Actually won again this year. Another guy who finally broke out after the longest PGA Tour. Great ball striker. They always talk about his ball striking. But you're right, was one of the top guys. But again, he's actually made probably the most money, if you look it up, most money without like a lot of wins you'll ever see. It's incredible how much money he's made.
Take a look at the stats.
So very impressive. He's leading. He's at -7 through 16. Great story. He won earlier this year. He's in the British Open. Cauley not in the British Open. This is all these weeks coming in the British Open. Big weeks. Everyone in the top 10 not qualified get in.
Right.
So obviously big week. So Bud Cauley's trying to do that. Brian Stewart, a guy who's trying to do that. He's at -6. He's tied for second. He's been around a late 30s type of guy trying to get in the British Open. We've heard his name.
More and more of that is happening.
Yes. The old guys are coming back because I think distance is kind of like equaling itself out now.
Kevin Kisner,
he's at 6. We just talked about him. He's already qualified. Kevin Streelman picked him last week.
That's right, yeah.
Had a pretty good week, not as good as I would have liked.
1 week off.
He's in second, -6.
But again, playing well.
Playing well again, back-to-back weeks now. Got actually had a good U.S. Open.
Yeah.
Good U.S. Open. I mean, for Kevin Streelman, he had a
Right.
good U.S. Open. And then had a good week last week at a course he loves. He's following that up with a good start to this week. A tournament, by the way, inaugural tournament in Detroit. First Detroit, not Detroit, Michigan area tournament since 2009. So an inaugural tournament in Michigan.
in Detroit. Yeah.
Very cool.
Awesome.
The first time playing this course, they're playing pretty well. But Streelman, another guy.
But I'll
trying
tell
to
you a
get
little bit of a story about
second.
Streelman since we're talking. There was a story in Golf Digest magazine. You should look it up probably on the internet for sure. That a guy was trying to make it. Streelman's caddy couldn't make it to an event. He took over, said he just caddy. And Streelman did really well that week. He won a bunch of money, and he stayed with them. He's been with them for 3 or 4 years now. Streelman's always been a moneymaker. Not press the buttons on many wins, but you know what? In the PGA, you don't have to win to make a lot of money. I mean, these guys are making good money. And shout out to the caddies. Here's a real story for you. The caddies were actually treated really badly.
Oh my God.
Not too long ago.
No, I know.
They wouldn't even be given protection in the rain,
storms,
in a storm. They'd have to wait in the parking lot for the golfer to get there. They couldn't even walk to the clubhouse by themselves. A lot of stories about that. Interesting reading. They've corrected most of that these days. Caddies are making a ton of money. Obviously, the respect's there. But in the older days, and not that, I want to say 10, 15 years ago, it was a different story. I was reading a really interesting story about what
Bones Mackay really commented on.
Yeah,
He obviously
yeah.
started in 1990.
Yeah.
Probably 1996 or 5 with Phil, right? And all these years, so he's seen the progression.
Yeah.
I think he was the one really touching on it. But yeah, they weren't even giving coverage. They weren't making a ton of money. Now they have a union together, I believe,
Yeah.
and they make 10% on a win, 5% everything
Yeah.
else. You know, they get lots of protection now, which is great to see.
And if you're not a
they're
big
very
bag,
important.
you're making real money.
Well,
but even on the
and
smaller
big bags, guys get salaries. A lot of guys have gone to their friends, probably saying, "Hey man, don't worry about this percentage crap. You're my best friend. Travel
Here's
with
a couple
me."
100,000.
Yeah,
You don't get any
let's
percentage
keep it
any
let's
longer.
keep it simple, and stuff like that. So, but yes, these guys who play for like caddies for like a guy like Streelman, they're making good livings, and you don't really notice it. You don't really know Streelman's living really. The guy's been on tour for so long.
Yeah.
He's always been sponsored by Wilson, so he's kind of
They make
like
2-3 million. The caddies made 150,000.
yeah. It's
pretty good job.
He's like that lifetime third or fourth liner in NHL, that lifetime bench player in the NBA who's pocketing money, haven't had to deal with media, wins the odd event, and he's doing well again this week.
So Streelman helped out a caddy from way back.
Here we go.
The guy's had a great
Good
life.
for him.
So.
Good for him. It's a big risk for these
Where are
guys.
our top players?
Well, there's still 2 more to go. Actually, they're tied for second. We talked about Nick Lashley and Danny Lee. They're still tied for second too. Don't know much about them. I know a little bit about Danny Lee. He was the first guy to make more money on the course than he did from his sponsorship.
Doesn't have much goal.
In his rookie season, it normally doesn't happen unless your rookie season. He made more money as a golfer
because then he got the deals.
Then he did have a sponsorship, which is very, very rare. So that was a funny story there.
Where's Fowler? He would have been my pick. He won last week.
Fowler's at 4, Watson at 4, Matsuyama at 4.
So the couple guys we picked last week.
Yeah, you know what? Hey, they're doing pretty good. 4 under in the first round is usually where these top guys go. They build towards the weekend when the rest of the guys typically fall off. I don't wish it on them, but they typically fall off. So those are good starts for those guys at 4 under apiece. Gonna be very happy. Pretty decent field. DJ's in the field too. He tees off this afternoon. Not kind of what we've been seeing recently as far as fields go, but it's a decent field.
Yeah.
And for inaugural event, this is Ricky Fowler's sponsor, Rocket Mortgage. So he's been doing a lot of stuff. And
that helps with these sponsors. Helped the Canadian for years. RBC sponsoring players, right? So Ricky's a sponsor. He's going to go there. There's guys that are going to go because of Ricky.
Woodland's
what's his name? Watson. He's going to go because they do those videos together and stuff like that. So the key is, maybe during those years, and they got DJ to do the Canadian Open, they got a better date. But that's good. Ricky's tied to these guys. He will bring players to this event every year.
It's like DJ.
Going to grow.
DJ brought Brooks.
Yeah.
Not this year. Brooks came volunteer because he normally plays for an Open, but DJ brought Brooks 2 years ago after the British, and Brooks literally said, "Our only reason I'm here is for DJ." So you're right. You get one guy. He brings his friends.
He played like it too. But.
Yeah. You get one guy.
Speaking of Brooks,
friends, and then
let's speak about Brooks. Still trying to recover from his nightmare at Canadian Open, where he said, "I don't really care about this event, about winning the event. I'm about the major." So it brings 2 things to play here. He is now backing on all those things. So now he's at the story today is he feels bad, or he was under so much pressure when he turned number one. I think it was in Korea or somewhere off the country, and he said he put so much pressure on himself being number one that he actually played bad, blah blah blah. That's when he decided to focus on the majors to get back to that position. He says now that he's number one through the PGA, that's a lot of stress, so he's trying to put off his remarks based on stress of being number one and trying to be number one again. But you know what? This is all excuses. This guy is not a media guy. He's an angry young man who makes comments about stuff that, he just doesn't want to be the poster boy for the PGA. But he now realizes you can make some really bad comments too and have to live up with them and try and back away from them.
One thing I'll give him credit for is the next week, though, he went out and almost won the U.S. Open. Yeah. So he's good at putting it behind him. He's good at doing what he's doing, yeah. I don't totally blame him for the way he's kind of approached his career so far. I think, the majors, because of the money you kind of make by making cuts, which he still does. I mean, the Canadian Open, he finished like 20th. He finished like 40th last year.
Missed a cut last week.
No, he played. He made it.
Did he?
Yeah, he finished 40th. Yeah. So,
yeah, okay.
They can focus on the majors. They can only they can say, I'm going to focus on if you're going to be Brooks's level of. And he still brings value to the events he plays. He brings tickets. Players actually, funny enough, if you're a fan and you're there to see him just play, the best thing for you is for him to barely make the cut because no one's going to show up to watch him. So actually, if you want to see Brooks, go to a regular event where he barely makes the cut. There won't be many people following him. So I didn't like the fact he said he didn't care because the way Canada took it was he didn't care about being in Canada. Yeah. What he really wants to say, he doesn't care about any event besides the majors. Or the FedEx Cup. He said the FedEx Cup too. When those events come, he'll try to win the FedEx Cup. He's all about legendary status, which is majors and FedEx Cup. The other events don't give you legendary status.
But you brought this up this morning too about turning number one without winning regular events, and should that be the way it is? And we talked about the fact that the majors are what brings the sport to the highlights, so that they want the guy who wins majors to be at the top. But is it really fair that guys who go out and win events all the time are not number one because he happens to focus have to be great on the majors?
I'm glad you brought this up. Let's talk about it. The first thing is, obviously, Tiger winning 83 times is a big deal. But so many regular wins, what DJ does gets overlooked and all these guys. I personally do believe, because of the hype around majors, everything, there's nothing more than someone who's won the first two majors of a year going for a third. There's nothing more than a guy, if he won three, going for a fourth. There's nothing like a guy going for a career Grand Slam, going for back-to-back, going for three in a row like Brooks has done. There's just nothing to it as far as media goes, as far as publicity goes, as far as accomplishments amongst your peers. Your peers are going to vote you as a better player if you can win majors. And unfortunately, whether you believe that's the fact or not, it is. That's when all the guys are guaranteed to show up. That's when all these guys from Europe, PGA Tour, you're getting the best fields, period. You're playing on the toughest golf courses, in theory, period. I do agree with it. I used to not be that way. I feel like DJ has 20 wins, that's impressive. I used to feel like if you win a bunch of times, that's impressive. And it is. I'm not saying it's not impressive, but when you're comparing to a guy who can maybe focus on majors, which, by the way, we've just never seen this before where you can't win regular events. You can only win majors, which is very rare.
Because Luke Donald was actually number one without winning a major, so it can be done.
And I was on his side at the time because no one was winning two majors. No one was winning three majors. Yeah, but no one was winning really, that's what I mean. This is really the first time the conversation is real because Brooks is winning majors without winning regular events.
At the majors, he's got Tiger-level talent.
It's insane.
Tiger-level,
it's insane.
Advertising going into every event. It brings the world of golf up. So, interesting discussions that you can actually be number one without winning regular events, and you can actually be number one without winning a major. So, in fact, it's a pretty fair system when you get down to it.
It's fair, but should be fair.
Hall of Fame might be different.
It's fair, but should be fair. Because Brooks actually has 2 seconds in both majors this year and a win. And if you include what he's done, it's 4 wins in 9 majors. And all his majors he doesn't win, he's finishing freaking second. So really, in my opinion, now that we have a split as a guy who's dedicated himself to majors versus guys who just dedicate himself to every week to tee it up, now that you have that split, which we've never had before, I am on the side of Brooks Koepka, where that's more important, that's more impressive. He's able to be there all the time. He's the only golfer with any consistency at major championships. So I agree. He should be number one, but he should be number one so far out that he can't be overtaken if DJ won this week or if Rose won the next week.
And the really good thing is, golf does one thing that college doesn't do. College football is, or even basketball, it's fact-based. You know how many points you get for events. So if you want to be number one, you can focus on the majors. You know it'll get you there. You know there's so many points for winning majors. So you can get there if you want, but it's number-based. That's what we've always loved.
You also know
there's no voting. There's no voting by other people. Here's the events. The bigger events have more points. And if you can go out and win those, you deserve to be number one. If you can go win so many of the non-major events that you can be number one, you can be number one.
But my beef is there's not enough
Whatever
points,
you need to do.
Not enough points for the majors to overcome someone who plays a lot. And like a Rose could, when he got to world number one, he only has 9 wins his whole career.
Right.
Brooks has 4 majors.
Yeah.
And he still somehow got to world number one over Brooks simply because he played a lot. He's very, very consistent and has a lot of top 10s.
Yeah, but you know what?
And once a year.
But my point is, it's very clear.
No, I agree with you.
Other sports where they have to vote the best team,
I agree with you.
right?
I agree with you.
It's very clear how you get number one. So choose your path.
I agree.
Doesn't matter.
Yep.
Rose can win a lot of other events, and he can focus on the majors.
I agree.
So at least you know the path.
His
choice is, if he was upset about that rule, he'd play more events and play them well. He isn't upset. He wants to win majors. He knows that'll take him
Here's my only thing, and maybe you agree, maybe you disagree. What do you think about this, though? You want your guy who's potentially winning all these majors. Don't you want him to be ranked world number one?
Yeah,
is that not bigger for golf? Not for him, but for golf.
But the whole point of free agency, because then every year you're going to come up with a reason why it should be another way. Whatever. Maybe the guy won the Masters. Maybe the guy wins FedEx Cup. Should be number one in the world automatically. Even if he was 70th when he started, he went through 4 grueling weeks to become the best player. And it narrowed down. Here you're in this group. Less players get to the next group. Less players get to the next group. Less players get to the next tournament. And you win that. Are you number one in the world? Because, when you look at football, you look at baseball, you look at hockey, every other sport, who is named number one in the world by winning the championship? The team that wins it. Not that they had the best regular season. Not that over the last 2 years. So if you really want to rip golf's whole thing down, in fact, the guy who wins the FedEx Cup is the best player of the year. Just like in the British Open, they call him the champion player of the year by winning the British Open. The guy could be ranked 1,300th in the world, qualified to get in the British Open, and won it, and he's still called the champion golfer of the year. So
golf's weird. I mean, you got 4 majors.
But I do like the numbers. It's clear.
You got
how it works.
Yeah, but because you can't overcome what golf has. They have 4 majors, and then they have a regular season, and then a playoffs too. It's very confusing if you want to get picky about it. You're right. It's just clear. It is what it is. At the end of the day, I don't really care, and I don't think no one cares anymore because the world ranking of number one is so all over the place. I don't think it's something that gets brought up a lot. I think Brooks' new attitude will be he doesn't even care. I think he just wants to win majors.
He truly doesn't care, and he's right.
He wants to, and he's right.
Away from the state.
He shouldn't care. He shouldn't care. He should focus on winning majors. He should be focused on going after Jack's record because that would get you enough traction and bring golf to the forefront. Someone that potentially to beat Jack's record. He doesn't care. He shouldn't care. He should live by it. Own your comments. Too.
Own it though. Yeah.
Man up. Don't back down now. Don't be world number one. I don't care if you're world number 12. Keep winning majors because it brings the excitement of potential Grand Slams, of golf having a new guy to beat Jack's record, and more importantly, just someone who's dominant, someone who's consistently there, someone who America can jump on and watch.
But when it really comes down to it, too, it's up to what the sport wants to make itself. So right now, the majors are everything, even over FedEx Cup, right?
Definitely.
Now, if the sport went to the FedEx Cup as being number one,
but yes,
it would take so many years to make that happen. So that's why you need to do it, because the only thing that will really recognize you 20 years from now, 50 years from now, it won't matter who was number one when it all happened, right? It won't matter. It'll matter who won the majors, who got close. And for the sport of golf, and we're part of that, and popularity is important to us. Look what Canada's doing in golf now. It's very important to us. There is no doubt it's all about the majors. That's all that really matters. We should all be okay with that. Yep. And we like great players come to our event because it's the only time it comes to a city. Right. Not like a hockey team, football, they play every other week in your city. This is once a year. That's why we get excited about it, but also why we get tense about it, because we want to see Brooks play well. But we got to respect what's great for the game. What's great for the game's majors. This guy's won 4 of them already at 29 years old, I think it is. So he's got a shot at these records. Especially how consistent
and real quick, because we got to wrap it up. Shout out to PGA Tour, though, for making off weeks of the majors way more interesting.
So, like other sports now, at least.
So credit to them. They have created a way, whether we know it'll never be major level because majors have the history. Yeah. They've credit to them. They found a way to make at least other weeks important. They have the FedEx Cup now to make the end of the year exciting. So at least credit to them. If Brooks wants to just make the cut, that's fine by me. At least you're showing up. And you're putting your face to a tournament. So, hey,
we agree on that one.
British Open coming in a couple weeks, but this is the one topic we probably agree on the most. So shout out to golf, man. You really,
and when you get there, we want lots of money and purses there.
Hey,
So whatever gets the attendance there.
I want to be clear
helps
to any sponsor out there. I'll play in any event on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, exactly. So whatever builds the game of golf and helps out all the golfers, not only because it's one of the few worldwide sports.
Yes,
really, when it comes down to it. So we'll be back to cover it Saturday morning once we hit the cut line with our predictions, and enjoy the golf tournament this week. It should be awesome.